ready for deer camp? Who here is ready for Thanksgiving? I'm all of the above. We'll talk about deer hunting season. I think I've said it was never a thing in my family. I love the Wisconsin culture surrounding deer hunting. I myself have never taken part. The closest I got to hunting is actually Duck Hunt on the Nintendo Entertainment System circa 1987. And let me tell you, brother, I was an expert killer. That dog always came up with 2 ducks in his little paws. I never got the dog when he was crying because you missed all the ducks. But yeah, we'll talk about whether the annual deer hunt is still a big thing and why more and more families are sort of like mine. It's just no longer the tradition, or the tradition has sort of died, but the numbers are still very solid. And I think all of the hand-wringing about the death of the Wisconsin deer hunt is a little bit overblown. It is Friday. That means we will check out the strangest stories of the past 7 days, including easily my favorite arrest in Wisconsin this year. The dude who got you-know-what all over him when golfers trapped him in a porta potty following a police chase at a golf course in Milwaukee. The story is going national for good reason. That story coming up in How Bizarre in the 10 o'clock hour. Also, I think I have the most definitive proof yet that the way the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction has changed its report cards is a complete farce. Do you realize the Milwaukee Public School District meets expectations when a grand total of 9.6% of its students are at grade level in math? That story coming up. We begin, however, with the final day of the Fall Fortune Cash Contest. We have been playing this for a month and a half, but alas, we have reached the end. Your last day to win $1,000 instantly, until about the second week of January when we start the Cold Hard Cash Contest. But your final Fall Fortune Cash Contest 9 o'clock word is check, C-H-E-C-K, check. You've got until 55 past this hour to go to our website and enter the keyword check to enter the contest for the 9 o'clock hour. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $1,000 in cash instantly, just like Steve listening to us in Greenfield did a couple of days ago. Another chance at the 10 o'clock hour and straight through to 5 p.m. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I've got to check very quickly. All right, we may or may not be having Wisconsin Congressman Mike Gallagher on the program in the 10 o'clock hour. He had some harsh words for, as always, the Chinese government. He is, of course, the chairman of the House Select Committee on China and possibly one of the few men in the United States who understands the clear and present danger. The greatest geopolitical foe that America faces is not Russia. It's not Hamas. It is China. We'll have him weigh in, assuming we're getting scheduling stuff together. Hopefully we'll be able to have him. If we don't, we'll have him on Monday. I do want to talk to him also about what just happened to trend on TikTok when Chinese dictator Xi Jinping was in town. Osama bin Laden's letter to America. I've said for, 2 decades now that the formative political event, the formative global event in my life was, of course, 9/11. I was 20 years old. I was a college junior, and I was planning to go to law school. I wanted to be a broadcaster, but I always thought, would I really want to be a 42-year-old MTV VJ? Sure, I think Carson Daly's got a sweet gig. I believe he's got his own radio show, TV show. Yeah, that would be great. But that was what I wanted to do before 9/11 happened. Be a Happy Talk TV host or something like that. And then when the broadcasting thing petered out, go be a lawyer, settle down, have, a normal career. 9/11 happened. It completely and totally changed my life. Absolutely changed it. I was glued to the TV. For the first time in my young, self-absorbed life, as pretty much all young lives are, I realized that there was a whole world outside of my little bubble. There was a whole world that was, honestly, a little bit scary. That there were people who wanted to do me personally harm, who had never met me. I read about history. I'd always been fascinated by history, but I read about the history of the Middle East, essentially the Muslim crusade that conquered the Holy Land before the Christian crusade in Europe tried to stop the Arab advances and retake the Holy Land and that sort of thing. The history of terror, the Palestinians, Yasser Arafat. One of the things that always stuck with me was either on 9/11 or September 12th. I still can't remember which. And I remember it like it was yesterday, but for 2 decades, I was unable to find the clip. And I thought at some point I was going crazy. I was like, I distinctly remember people celebrating in the streets. And I thought it was in Gaza. I thought it was the Palestinians celebrating. I remember a report about old people handing out candy to kids, because I can remember watching it live. It was, again, a formative event in my life. And I was like, man, oh man, oh man. These people are twisted. They're deranged. How are they celebrating the mass murder of people? Remember, I was 20 years old. I didn't understand in those halcyon days of innocence. I didn't understand that there really are people who are that twisted, who really do celebrate and believe in the slaughter of people who are unlike them simply because they are unlike them, infidels, as it were. And I can remember years later, remember when Donald Trump said he distinctly remembered seeing people celebrating on rooftops in New Jersey? Muslim Americans celebrating on rooftops in New Jersey. I said, I remember something similar, but I'm fairly certain it was in the Palestinian territories. I think Trump probably saw the same thing, sort of got confused a little bit, but I could not for the life of me find the clip. I am talking 2 decades. I couldn't find this thing. Maybe I don't know how to Google search, but it finally resurfaced yesterday amid the kerfluffle over the young TikTokers discovering bin Laden's letter to America and realizing that Osama bin Laden, the most destructive, heinous terrorist in history, sounds an awful lot like the modern-day radicalized left. It was on NBC's Today Show, Katie Couric reporting on Palestinians celebrating in the streets following 9/11.
From the West Bank, these are Palestinian celebrations in the wake of Tuesday's terror attacks in the United States. Apparently, Palestinians took to the street chanting, "God is great." People were throwing candy, distributing candy to passersby. One man, Nawal Abdel Fattah, wearing a long black dress, threw sweets in the air, saying, actually that's a woman, pardon me, saying she was happy because, quote, America is the head of the snake. America always stands by Israel in its war against us.
These are the people who 21, 22 years later, America's leftists are standing with. The people who literally celebrated in the streets the deaths of your countrymen. And, oh, by the way, these are the same people who still have Americans held hostage. 30 Americans. Was it 30 are held hostage, 30 were killed? For some reason, the numbers are conflated. Among those believed to be held hostage, a 3-year-old American. Yet these are the good guys in this conflict. Okay. These are also the same Americans, the same truly warped thinking young people, many of whom weren't even alive when 9/11 happened, and all of whom seriously probably should have been spanked as children if this is how they turn out as adults, discovering the great philosopher Osama bin Laden, really the Socrates of his day. In 2002, for those who have missed the controversy, bin Laden wrote a letter to America in which he justified the reasons for the 9/11 attack. And we read this yesterday. it sounds shockingly like modern-day radical anti-American leftists. And in truth, it sounded an awful lot like radical leftists of every day, dating back to the 1970s, when you had the radicalized movement really come to the forefront in the form of the Black Panthers movement, very anti-American rhetoric that sort of led directly. You can have a straight line to the Black Lives Matter movement 50 years later. And the same thing with the Weather Underground, this radicalized sect of university leftists who literally did turn to terrorism, just as Osama bin Laden did. So I guess it shouldn't be a real surprise that there is this sort of affinity amongst the radicalized left for actual terrorism. But I never thought I would see people by the hundreds, by the thousands, going on TikTok and saying, man, I just read the Osama bin Laden letter. It changed my life. And here I thought the only book Generation Z's ever read was Harry Potter.
This morning I read Letter to America, which is Osama bin Laden's letter.
So I just read A Letter to America.
I need everyone to stop what they're doing right now and go read. It's literally 2 pages. Go read A Letter to America.
I need you to stop what you're doing and go read A Letter to America.
It's wild, and everyone should read it. If you haven't read it yet, read it.
I will never look at life the same. I will never look at this country the same.
I feel like I'm going through like an existential crisis right now, and a lot of people are.
Reading this letter, it becomes apparent to me that the actions of 9/11 and those acts committed against the USA and its people were all just the buildup of our government failing other nations.
My entire viewpoint on the entire life I have believed and I have lived has changed. Please read that entire letter.
I have taken a good amount of my morning to craft a letter to TikTokers who have just discovered Osama bin Laden's letter to America. Folks, I want this to be a heartfelt response. I wanted this to fully encapsulate how clear-headed, morally alive Americans feel about the TikTokers who have just discovered Osama bin Laden's letter to America. I wanted this to sort of sum up how all of us who lived through 9/11, who understand in a more real and direct sense how terrorism has impacted all of us, and how victim blaming is never appropriate, whether it's Israel or America, and that the occupier-occupied, oppressor-oppressed dichotomy that leftists have set up is such a myopic vision of the world that it actually pollutes their minds into being able to justify truly heinous, unspeakable evil. I wanted my letter to say all of that. I wanted my letter to be a powerful message to the corrupted youth. And here it is. A letter to the TikTokers who have just discovered Osama bin Laden's letter to America. Dear TikTokers who have just discovered Osama bin Laden's letter to America, you are all bleeping morons. Sincerely, everyone else. The Dan O'Donnell Show will be back in just a second. It's conservative thought, not just talk.
Follow Dan on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Don't miss our iHeartRadio Holiday Special 2023. All hosted by Mario Lopez. Thanksgiving Eve at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Hear it on the free iHeartRadio app's Holiday Seasons Radio.
Get into the holiday spirit with Disney Bundle. Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. Stream timeless classics, festive favorites, and epic sports all season long. Includes Hulu ad-supported or Hulu no ads plan. Access content from each service separately. Terms apply. See the DisneyBundle.com for details.
Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. Everybody loves this month. Thanksgiving, right? But don't forget Black Friday. It's the time of the year where you can get some amazing deals. Well, at the Lynch family of dealerships, they've got Black Friday savings all month long. Lynch has restocked its inventory so you can shop over 800 vehicles either on the ground or online at shoplynch.com. They've got trucks, cars, SUVs for the family, but the best part is there's no need to wait for hours in line or to put yourself in danger at a department store or big box store because the Lynch family has your back. Black Friday savings all month long. Plus, you get your windshield and paint protected to get ready for those brutal winter months coming up. And that's why I highly recommend the Lynch family of dealerships. Best place to start shopping right now, shoplynch.com. That's shoplynch.com.
One of the best things you can do for your health today is a sauna. Nick the Construction Guru here with you. This week we're going to have Eric Karlovitz from Good Health Saunas on telling about all the benefits of a sauna in your house. How does it relate to remodeling? Well, we're going to talk about that too. Tune in this Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Divergent Family Law will work with both parties of a divorce to an agreed upon final assignment of assets and custody. Prefer or have no choice but fight for every and any advantage through divorce? Divergent's attorneys do that too. Divergent Family Law, separate and equal or better. DivergentFamilyLaw.com.
Want a killer Black Friday deal? Get a free Moto 5G phone when you sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk, unlimited text, and 15 gig data plan for just $35 a month. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword save now to get this exclusive offer and to select the plan that's right for you and your family. Pure Talk gives you America's most dependable 5G network at half the price. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword save now to claim your free Moto G 5G phone with a qualifying plan. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
Looking for top-notch personal protection? The Smith & Wesson Equalizer is here to level the playing field. Easy to rack slide, easy to control ergonomic grip. It's designed for you. With a 10, 13, and 15-round magazine included, size up for better control or size down for easier concealment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to upgrade your safety. Visit your local dealer now. To learn more about the Equalizer, visit smith-wesson.com. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. All capacity sizes may not be available in your jurisdiction. Be sure to check your local laws and regulations.
You love her twice as much today as the day you married her, right?
Welcome to Kessler's.
To the Dan O'Donnell Show, classical conservatism, contemporary style. Yesterday, we broke the exclusive story of discord within the Dane County Sheriff's Department as deputies are furious that other deputies who are working as guards at the Dane County Jail have been writing letters in support of inmates, including one, Devion Thomas, a 24-year-old, charged and convicted after a plea deal of first-degree intentional homicide, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, following a shooting spree over the course of 24 hours in September of last year that left multiple people, including a child, injured. Someone who had nothing to do with the investigation of that case, but rather was charged with or tasked with overseeing Thomas in jail, actually wrote what amounts to a letter of recommendation for Thomas that Judge John Hyland took into account at his sentencing, with credit for time served, following charges of attempted first-degree intentional homicide, recklessly endangering safety, serious charges that could have led Thomas to prison for 200 years. He's going to serve 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Why? Because as Judge Hyland said, he's a good guy. He could be a coach or a counselor once he gets out of prison. Okay, Judge Hyland, what happens when this guy has a fight with another coach over a bad call? Does he go to his gun like Aqib Talib's brother? Remember that story, that tragedy on the youth football field? NFL cornerback, former NFL cornerback's brother is a football coach. He guns down a rival coach in cold blood. Yes, I want the Mickey Cobra gangbanger to be my kid's youth football coach. But because of essentially a sentencing letter by Deputy Marlon Hanna, who works at the Dane County Jail, saying this guy was a model prisoner, he got a lighter sentence. Another sheriff's deputy took it upon himself to write senior command staff asking if there was a more appropriate channel for jailers to write these letters to judges in order to get very, very violent offenders lighter sentences. Because, as he put it, and this is very true, people like Devion Thomas, gangbangers, are manipulative. By nature, they're manipulative. They're hustlers, as they put it. He posits that Thomas was hustling Deputy Hanna in order to get a lighter sentence. That what he was doing everything he can. He didn't really want to behave. He just wanted to get out of jail as soon as possible. And the evidence of this is that 15 minutes after a rival gang member was put into Thomas's pod, he started a fight with him, and Thomas actually knocked the guy out. He committed a felony while in jail awaiting a sentencing, awaiting a plea hearing and a sentencing on a shooting spree in Madison. He got 2.5 years. He, to my knowledge, was never charged in connection with that violent assault. There is a second case from a second sheriff's deputy in Dane County. This one with the last name Morgan, writing a letter of recommendation for Demarion Pollard, who's 19 years old, and he was just found guilty a couple of months ago in a 2022 shooting on Madison's southwest side. He was charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide, possession of a firearm by a felon, and 2 counts of felony bail jumping. Shooting happened near the intersection of Leland Drive and Balsam Road. A 22-year-old man was injured. Pollard and another defendant were accused of shooting at the victim as he ran away. Now, even though he's just 19 years old, young Demarion has an extensive criminal record. On September 10th, 2020, he was charged with, of course, if you had to guess what a then 16-year-old Demarion Pollard would be charged with, take a wild guess. It's not exclusively a Milwaukee thing. You got it. Operating a vehicle without the owner's consent. He was also charged with resisting or obstructing. Those charges were actually read into the record because he was also charged with false imprisonment, disorderly conduct through the use of a dangerous weapon, both as party to the crime. The felony charge of false imprisonment was dismissed but read into the record. He was sentenced to 9 months in jail with Huber work release privileges. He doesn't get through his probation. On November 30th of 2021, he's charged with bail jumping, resisting arrest, and, you guessed it, stealing another car, operating a vehicle without the owner's consent. Because of that, his probation is revoked, and he gets 12 months in prison. However, he does get credit for 328 days time served. On the second obstructing and operating a motor vehicle, he gets 6 months concurrent to those 12 months because he's also already had 328 days time served. He essentially gets nothing for a second car theft. This is the guy that Deputy Morgan said, you know what? He was such a good inmate on my watch. I think we should let him out early. I think you should go easy on him, Judge. Fortunately, the judge does not appear to have been nearly as lenient as Judge Hyland was in the Devion Thomas case, because he was eventually sentenced on the attempted homicide, bail jumping, and felon in possession charges stemming from this 2022 shooting to 10 years in prison. Personally, I would have gone a little higher, but hey, as Dane County standards go, this is okay. The bigger story here isn't the tale of Demarion Pollard, but the fact that you have a second case in which a Dane County sheriff's deputy is writing to the judge saying that an obvious piece of garbage behaved just fine in jail. Well, yeah, no kidding. He doesn't want added time. He's going to do whatever you say because he's playing you. He's hustling you. The second he's released, as his criminal record clearly suggests, and Demarion Pollard didn't just wake up one day at 16 or 17 and say, I'm going to start committing crimes now. He's clearly got an extensive juvenile record as well. Those records are sealed. I can't see them. But you get my drift. This is somebody who has been in trouble with the law almost certainly since he was 11 or 12 years old. But you have a Dane County sheriff's deputy who is so beguiled by him that he says, yeah, I think this is the sort of cat that we should allow out early. I seriously question what Sheriff Calvin Barrett is going to do about this. Again, I'm not against jailers saying, yes, this guy is a model inmate, I believe. But there does need to be some sort of, as the anonymous letter writer said, there does need to be some protocol for doing this, because we've got two examples just out of the last couple of weeks in which people who clearly don't deserve leniency because they are in fact career criminals and very, very dangerous ones who have tried to kill other human beings on the streets of Madison, that these are the ones being recommended for light sentences? Give me a break. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be back shortly.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose, or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere, but the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Headed out to deer hunt? Make CWD testing part of your plan this season. Deer hunters in Wisconsin play an essential role in keeping the herd healthy by testing their deer for CWD. Test results help the Wisconsin DNR track CWD across the state. Submitting a test is quick, free, and can be done by any of our CWD sampling sites throughout the state. To find a sampling site near you, visit dnr.wi.gov and search CWD sampling.
Robert Hack Diamonds pays cash for your unwanted gold, silver, and even diamonds. That's right, Robert Hack Diamonds wants to make you a cash offer on your gold, silver, and diamonds. The process is very simple. No appointment needed. Just come on in, sit down in a nice, relaxed atmosphere, and the staff of Robert Hack Diamonds will evaluate your unwanted gold, silver, and diamonds, and then make you an offer on the spot. Robert Hack Diamonds, now open in Brookfield on Greenfield Avenue, and our second location is at 76th and Layton. RobertHackDiamonds.com.
Science, garden, and home. your Christmas sparkle.
It's Stein's lowest price of the season sale on Lifelike Christmas trees. At Stein's, you'll find Wisconsin's largest selection and best quality of Lifelike Christmas trees, all at 50% off or more. Choose from over 100 styles of pre-lit and LED trees. And this week, take an additional 20% off the lowest marked price.
Stein's Garden and Home.
I'm the benefit company's Kurt Otto. iNet Marketing is more than a marketing agency or web developer. Over decades, iNet has become a business mentor, helping businesses see pathways to increase profitability.
Advice we often give is do what makes your business money better than anyone and insource iNet to implement Grave Genius, making sure people know and choose your business. Similarly, insourcing the benefit companies for business administration is smart business.
We started seeing results as soon as our iNet website was published, and even more when we went live on the radio. This January, first implementation of new business was more than in many years. iNet Marketing really worked.
Keeping businesses regulation compliant and helping implement strategic efficiencies, the benefit companies enhances business profitability.
Our brand, Steve Created InSource, is genius. iNet branding, logo design, our radio advertising accurately present our value and work.
InSource, the benefit companies. Connect and simplify.com.
We highly recommend iNet Creative Genius Marketing.com.
iNetDishweb.com.
Thousands of stores across the country are pulling brand name cold and allergy products off the shelves. Why? Because an FDA advisory panel recently determined that a drug they contain, oral phenylephrine, is ineffective as a nasal decongestant. Navage offers a drug-free solution that's fast and highly effective at relieving nasal congestion caused by colds and allergies. Navage uses suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril to help suck out allergens, mucus, and germs. Nasal irrigation works, and Navage makes it quick and easy, but more than anything, it helps you breathe better. Don't waste your time or money on products that are ineffective. Trust drug-free Navage for fast relief to help you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier. Ask for Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or find us online at Navage.com. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Want a killer Black Friday deal? Get a free Moto 5G phone when you sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk, unlimited text, and 15 gig data plan for just $35 a month. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword save now to get this exclusive offer and to select the plan that's right for you and your family. Pure Talk gives you America's most dependable 5G network at half the price. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword save now to claim your free Moto G 5G phone with a qualifying plan. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
Looking for top-notch personal protection? The Smith & Wesson Equalizer is here to level the playing field. Easy to rack slide, easy to control ergonomic grip. It's designed for you. With a 10, 13, and 15-round magazine included, size up for better control or size down for easier concealment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to upgrade your safety. Visit your local dealer now. To learn more about the Equalizer, visit smith-wesson.com. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. All capacity sizes may not be available in your jurisdiction. Be sure to check your local laws and regulations.
We go out to the phones to Hale's Corners, specifically to talk with AJ. AJ, good morning. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Good morning, Dan. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought maybe I disconnected you. I had put the phone on hold. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. In your response to the TikTok.
My letter to the TikTokers who have just read Osama bin Laden's letter to America. I thought that, AJ, out of everything I've written, and I like to think I've written things of great importance. I like to think that I've written things that hopefully made people think that are deeply philosophical. I actually think That was the deepest, most personal, most heartfelt thing I've ever written. What did you have a problem with?
Well, I think you sounded like a liberal responding to a conservative.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So just so we all have context, hold on a sec, AJ. This is my letter to the TikTokers who have just discovered Osama bin Laden's letter to America. Dear TikTokers who have just discovered Osama bin Laden's letter to America, you are all bleeping morons. Sincerely, everyone else.
You're better than that.
You know, AJ, you didn't... I don't think you appreciate all the thought that went into that, AJ.
I get it, Dan. I get it.
It was just so we're all clear. I am actually working on a letter to these TikTokers to explain how people for insidious purposes are able to manipulate their inherent belief that America somehow is the great Satan, to borrow bin Laden's language. You do know I was joking, right, AJ? Like that was a big, elaborate setup to a joke.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I look forward to your real letter.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I have been working. You know, it's been hard, AJ, and thank you so much for the call. It has been hard because there's so much I want to say. There's so much that I think there's so much that this speaks to regarding modern liberalism, the manner in which the utter, slightly, well, totally unhinged hatred of America as the ultimate oppressor, and the manner in which that this has just been hammered into young people's minds has sort of exploded. And I believe I used the analogy yesterday of Frankenstein's monster, that you've had Dr. Frankenstein for 20 years now, hell, longer than that, teaching young kids, Professor Frankenstein, let's call him, teaching kids from first grade all the way up to college to say America is at fault. America is at fault. Like, how about this? We have here in Milwaukee, the city wants to mark the spot of a lynching from 1861. What possible reason is there for that, if not to serve as a constant reminder of how terrible America was? Yeah, I agree. American Democrats who fought a civil war to keep their slaves were pretty awful. Yes, American Democrats, under the direction of President Andrew Jackson, the very first American Democratic president, forced Native Americans off their land. American Democrats really did lynch a whole lot of people throughout the South in the period of Reconstruction. Yes, American Democrats really did oppose the franchise, the right to vote for women. Yes, American Democrats really did oppose the Civil Rights Act. They really did oppose the 14th Amendment. They really did oppose pretty much everything even approaching civil rights that American Republicans had been pushing for since they were founded in Wisconsin for the express purposes of ending slavery. Yes, I agree with you. But when that sort of thing is constantly indoctrinated, not taught, but indoctrinated, America is the enemy, America is the enemy, America is the enemy. Well, we can't teach about Christopher Columbus because Christopher Columbus was the father of colonialism, and colonialism is the ultimate evil. Huh, okay. Can somebody please explain to me what the Aztecs and the Incas were doing to tribes for dozens, hundreds of years, really, before the arrival of Europeans? Can somebody please explain to me, were they colonizing tribes? Were native tribes conquering each other and stealing their lands? Yes, they absolutely were. We pretend that this was, well, some new arrival. My goodness, these peaceful people never knew war. They never knew violence. Give me a break. The Aztecs were kidnapping people and sacrificing them to their sun god on top of giant pyramids. Don't pretend that human nature somehow isn't human nature when it's the unspoiled natives. Come on. People are people are people are people. So, yeah, I've got a lot to say, AJ. Fear not, this was not my actual response. In fact, I'm working on this. Brett, my editor over at the McIver Institute, wants me to write down my thoughts. I think I'm going to try to do this over the weekend. I might even put it in the form of a video because I do feel actually very, very strongly about this. I also feel very strongly about how the Department of Public Instruction has absolutely destroyed any possibility that people can accurately judge the performance of their school districts. A couple of years ago, they actually changed how their annual district report cards were given. They actually said, because we've changed all of our standards, we have to change how we grade the schools. So if you got a total score of between 63 and 72.9 under the old system, you got a grade of meets expectations. That was sort of the baseline level for passing the school report card. That's a C. Meets few expectations is a D. Fails, of course, is an F. An A is significantly exceeds expectations. I believe only 8 or 9 districts significantly exceeded expectations. Exceeds expectations is your B. Meets expectations is your C. A couple of years back, DPI, with minimal explanation, said, well, we're just going to change this. So the range for meets expectations moves from 63 to 72.9 all the way down to 58 to 69.9. Guess what Milwaukee Public Schools just got on its 2022-2023 report card? An amazing coincidence. It got exactly a 58.0. It meets expectations. Amazing. This is a huge increase from last year. Glowing piece in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. How MPS saw such substantial improvements. Had they gotten a 57.9, they would have met few expectations and gotten a D. Under the old system, they are clearly in D territory. How do I know these grades are meaningless? Only 14.5% of MPS students are proficient, meaning at grade level, in English language arts. Granted, that's a 0.9% increase from the 13.5% who were proficient in ELA last year. Fewer than 10% of MPS kids are proficient in math. Fewer than 1 in every 10 Milwaukee Public School student can do math at grade level. Yet this is a district that meets expectations? Whose expectations? Exactly. We talk about, what's the old saying, the soft bigotry of low expectations. I believe that was a Thomas Sowell quote. This is the soft bigotry of no expectations. 52.1% of all MPS students are below basic levels in English. More than half are 2 grades below grade level in their ability to read and write. More than half. 64.3% are below basic in math. Almost 2/3 of all MPS students are 2 grades behind in math. Yet this is a district that meets expectations. What expectations? What is the expectation, please? Among black students, the numbers are staggeringly bad. Just 15% are proficient in English. Do you want to guess what percentage of black students in MPS are proficient in math? Or will it be too depressing? 4.4%. 4 out of every 100 black students at MPS can do math at grade level. How could this in any universe meet an expectation? Chronic absenteeism is significantly higher in MPS. Now, the most recent data that I could see was from the 21-22 school year, 58% chronic absenteeism rate, compared with 28% statewide. Now, this was a massive bump up from the prior year, but still, it's well in line with recent trends. MPS has a 20% higher chronic absenteeism rate than the rest of the state. Again, you tell me if the numbers are totally legit and not cooked, how exactly is it that MPS meets any expectations at all? Unhinged Liberal of the Day coming up next.
With nearly 50 years of experience, my dad, Jim Mullally, has taught my cousin Mark everything he knows. In fact, he bestowed so much expertise onto Mark that Mark went to New York to compete against the top furniture finishers in the country. And you know what? He won. So if you're looking for the finest of furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. The bulk of our business is in wood furniture restoration. We found that there are a lot of folks out there with antique furniture and heirloom pieces that are in good shape, but just need to be brought back to life again. Well, that's our specialty. And right here in Mequon, you'll find one of the country's top furniture finishers. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show. I want to share a landscaping secret with you. Winter is when our ornamental trees and shrubs need us most. We all know that plants need pruning, but why in the winter? Well, first, we can see their structure best when the leaves have fallen. And second, pruning is not so stressful when your plants are dormant. Pruning is affordable and makes a huge impact on the vitality and beauty of your trees and shrubs. So prune this winter and have gorgeous flowers next spring and summer. Pruning also helps keep your plants properly sized. No more dancing around them on the sidewalk or wrestling through them to wash your windows. Call today and schedule a complimentary evaluation of your ornamental plants. Our plant care experts will make sure your trees, shrubs, and perennials perform and look their best. Discover the wonders of nature. Call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Hey folks, I'm Chris Cunahan, president of Leaf Filter Gutter Protection. The smartest home upgrade you can make. When you upgrade your home with the #1 rated, best performing gutter protection on the market, even in a downpour, rainwater will actually get in your gutters and come out of the downspout, away from your foundation. Imagine this, a rainstorm is coming and your gutters are clogged. Getting the heavy ladder out of the garage and lifting it up to your gutters isn't getting any easier. And by the time you get to the top of the ladder, you're already questioning your life's choices. Do you enjoy cleaning your gutters? Oak seeds, maple spinners, leaves, pine needles, gutter muck, and hornet's nests? Or are you finally ready to get your gutters out of your mind once and for all? Leaf Filter Gutter Protection installs on just about any type of gutter without disturbing the roof and with a lifetime transferable warranty. To schedule your free estimate today, call 414-888-LEAF or go to leaffilterwi.com. That's leaffilterwi.com.
The next generation of streaming is here. Introducing Spectrum One Stream. Get 300 megabit internet for $49.99 a month, including advanced Wi-Fi, and one unlimited mobile line free for 12 months. And when you add Spectrum TV, get a Xumo Stream Box free for 12 months. Spectrum One Stream. It's streaming simplified. Visit spectrum.com for details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
It's that time of year again, Wisconsin. Hunting season is back. Before you head out, remember that safety is always the #1 target for a successful hunt. So when you're out in the woods this season, practice these simple tips. Treat every firearm like it's loaded. Always point your muzzle in a safe direction. Be certain of your target and don't touch the trigger until you're ready to shoot. For more safety tips, visit dnr.wisconsin.gov. Brought to you by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
Get 10% off your roofing project if you call and sign up before the end of the year. And if the weather turns south, we'll still hold your price for next year. So count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Thank you, WISN listeners, for trusting your car repairs to Engine and Transmission Exchange. ETE has 2 locations with A-plus ratings from the Better Business Bureau. One is on South 27th Street in Milwaukee, the other on West Avenue in Waukesha, and they work on any make or any model. See EngineTrans.com for details. Engine and Transmission Exchange.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join Joe Brown for the Safe Money and Income Radio Show on Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, did you know it is Transgender Awareness Week? This is not to be confused with Pride Month. I'm sure there's a Transgender Awareness Month. We are actually going to mark Transgender Awareness Month by helping you become more aware of how gender identity disorder, technically first it was transsexualism, went from a clearly identifiable mental health issue, a mental health disorder, in fact, classified by the American Psychiatric Association in its annual, or rather its every several years they put this out, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or DSM. How this evolved, the science didn't change. None of the science changed. But over the course of about 32 years, the political science did. Finally, in 2012, again, with no change to the science whatsoever, but admitted a change in the political science, we stopped classifying transgenderism, which is still gender identity disorder or gender dysphoria. We stopped classifying it as a mental illness. We follow the science. Coming up after the 10 o'clock news. Also, the unhinged liberal of the day. That comes up right now.
Trump
is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is in over.
Today's unhinged liberals of the day are the totally not anti-Semitic protesters at the Berkeley City Council. Council members had to walk out of their meeting after just 20 minutes after protesters calling for a ceasefire in Gaza started throwing dollar bills at the Jewish members. The meeting's premature end was preceded by roughly 30 minutes of public comment on issues that were, as expected, not on Tuesday's agenda, which was largely dominated by demands that the council pass a resolution calling for a ceasefire. Because if Israel is going to listen to anyone, it is the Berkeley City Council. Those protesters, again, totally not anti-Semitic. They're just throwing dollar bills at Jewish people for no apparent reason. It's just a protest, not anti-Semitism, just a protest. They are your unhinged liberals of the day. How bizarre. Also coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, we have some fun with the strangest stories of the past 7 days, including what might be my favorite local crime story of the year, the Porta Potty Bandit arrested in Milwaukee. Stay tuned. All that's coming up next.
that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. A 21-year-old Franklin man wanted for an attempted homicide was arrested in Atlanta yesterday. Christian Correa was taken into custody with help from the U.S. Marshals Service. Correa is charged in connection to an October 27th stabbing in Franklin. A criminal complaint says the victim suffered multiple stab wounds to the head, shoulder, and hands, as well as a skull fracture after Correa punched and stabbed the victim in the face an estimated 30 to 40 times. Governor Tony Evers approves pay increases for some state employees, while others remain in limbo. Yesterday, the Democratic governor signed bills giving raises to state patrol troopers and inspectors and employees in the Building Trades Crafts Collective Bargaining Unit. Evers also pointed out already approved pay hikes for some 35,000 Universities of Wisconsin employees are still being held up by Republicans. A joint committee led by Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and Senate President Chris Kapenga has withheld the UW raises as Vos continues to oppose diversity, equity, and inclusion programs on the campuses. As the raid of Gaza's largest hospital by Israeli troops continues, the White House stands firm in its conviction that U.S. intelligence shows Hamas was using the Al-Shifa complex to shield a key command center and carry out its military activities. The terrorist group and hospital staff deny that Hamas is using the facility as a command center. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the NBA in-season tournament continues for the Bucks tonight as they face the Hornets in Charlotte. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen, News Talk 1130 WISN.
The news is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass with another 5-star review, this one from Dave. I scraped the passenger side of my new truck. You can imagine how I felt when I saw the long scratch staring back at me. I called Mander, and they were able to get me in right away. On the spot, they were able to buff out most of it, and they cleaned it up where it didn't need any paint work. Their honesty and integrity were on full display because they could have easily told me it needed comprehensive work. When I asked them what I owed for the service, they said nothing. At a time when good service seems to be a thing of the past, it's nice to know there are still companies and people that provide extraordinary service with complete integrity. I highly recommend Mander. Dave, that's exactly why I highly recommend Mander, too. With 5 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and a brand new facility in Muskego, Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A little cloudier to start our day today with an isolated sprinkle of possibility. We should clear out rapidly and get some sunshine by this afternoon, but only 48. Should be clear and 30 tonight, 52 tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Landmark Credit Union.
Jada believes in doing, which is why she does all her banking with Landmark Credit Union. Checking account? Check. Savings? Certainly. Car loan? Mortgage? Done and done. Landmark Credit Union. Banking made easy. Insured by NCUA. Equal Housing Opportunity.
Jose's Blue Sombrero is exceeding expectations. Jose sets and resets the bar over and over for flavor-filled Mexican fusion cuisine. Fancy sounding, but simply means Jose's chefs take the freshest of fresh base ingredients of Mexican cuisine. Cilantro, tomatillos, pico de gallo, ginger, garlic, onions, basil, chilies, habanero, jalapeno, tomatoes, and bonds them together with many of the finest tastes and flavors of the best foods across the globe, including nearly 20 inspired and developed with love gourmet tacos composed of the freshest ingredients with tastes and flavors you'll love. Jose's hand-squeezed, juice-infused, and spiced craft cocktails featuring biodynamic, pesticide, and herbicide-free agave field-produced Mayente tequila includes the most effervescent, flavorful mojito, sunrise, margarita, or southern cosmopolitan ever made are an adult real treat you'll love. Jose's artisans even handcraft little happier, tastier, better, or más feliz, más sabrosa, mejor comida. Tableside to your taste, freshest of fresh guacamole. Jose's Blue Sombrero, Tosa, Racine, or Fox Point. Jose's exceeding expectation. Jose'sBlueSombrero.com. HassleLess.com.
Why wait for Black Friday when you can save every day? HassleLess Mattress introduces Black Friday Plus. We've gone rogue and activated Black Friday deals through December 4th on Sealy Posturepedic, Beautyrest, CertaPerfect Sleeper, and more. You get the everyday, way low HassleLess price, plus additional savings, plus free next day delivery, plus free memory foam pillows on select mattresses. Get a Queen CertaPerfect Sleeper Oakmont A mattress. Other stores sell it for $14.99, but our Black Friday Plus price is just $8.88, plus 2 free Remy memory foam pillows. Other stores sell the King Sealy Posturepedic Golden Acres A for $17.99, but you can get it now for just $10.95, plus the free memory foam pillows. Big savings on Beautyrest too, and employee-free, hassle-free showrooms. Not just on Black Friday, but every day. Black Friday Plus, today at HassleLess Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at HassleLess.com.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online. Qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career. Accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
Why is iHeartRadio the #1 streaming radio app? Free music.
Free live radio stations from all over the country.
Free podcasts.
Free playlists.
Free contests. Free artist radio stations.
Commercial-free stations. It's free. I love iHeartRadio. Join the millions of music, radio, and podcast fans on the #1 streaming radio app now.
iHeartRadio.
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 Free never sounded so good.
WISN Milwaukee. Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Sunday, the Packers return to Lambeau, playing host to the LA Chargers. Wow! Kickoff at noon on Milwaukee's home for the Packers. 97.3 The Game.
Cash contest one last time here on the Dan O'Donnell Show right now. Today is, in fact, the final day of our month-and-a-half-long contest. Fear not. We have very strong reason to believe that the Cold Hard Cash contest is coming up right after the Christmas holiday. Your word this hour, credit, C-R-E-D-I-T, credit. You have got until 55 past this hour to go to our website and enter the keyword credit to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you will win $1,000. We have more chances to play each hour, 11 a.m. through 5 p.m. this evening, but this will be your final chance to win here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. If you would like to join us, AdventNews.com talk and text line always open at 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on Twitter/X, where we are streaming live via the DanoCam. You can also watch us at Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show and YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Okay, I guess we're not going to play music. There we go. We are taking submissions right now for the 2023 Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special. Just like last year, we want to hear your kids, your grandkids, playing their musical instruments, singing their Christmas songs to be part of a Christmas special, a 2-hour-long celebration of the talent that we have amongst the children in our Dan O'Donnell Show listening family. Just just like last year, we ask that submissions are kept to 2 minutes or less because there are no auditions here. Every kid who submits, time permitting, will be a part of our special. We're going to be taking submissions at DOD@iHeartMedia.com. I know a lot of families are getting together for Thanksgiving this weekend. It would be a perfect chance. All you need to do is to record your child, record your grandkid, your niece, your nephew, right on your phone. Send a video or audio file directly to me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. DOD@iHeartMedia.com. We will be taking submissions pretty much now until mid-December. And I want to include every single kid in our 2023 Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special, which will premiere in this time slot Friday, December 22nd, and then air throughout the day, multiple times per day as part of our Christmas programming on WISN, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, December 24th and the 25th, interspersed with classic radio plays, including A Christmas Carol, Miracle on 34th Street, and what's the third one? It's a Wonderful Life. My goodness, how did I forget that one? Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed, the original film cast doing a radio version of It's a Wonderful Life. We also play Christmas songs. It's just a wonderful, wonderful couple of days of Christmas programming. It all kicks off with the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special, December 22nd, Friday morning. But we need your submissions probably a week and a half before, because I need a good amount of time to put together the show, to write everything, to have a nice flow between musical performances. And again, we do ask that you keep those performances to 2 minutes or less. I do reserve the right to edit the pieces as I see fit. We did have to edit a couple of them just for time. It's not for content or anything like that, but we want to hear your kids. And this is open to kids under the age of 18, okay? If they're adults, sorry, we love you, college kids. We really do. We know you have a ton of talent, but we want the young ones. We want kids from age 2 all the way up to 17 playing their instruments, singing Christmas songs. Have some fun with this. We also will take Christmas greetings. We'd love you to have your kids say, hey, Merry Christmas from the Johnson family. We play those as part of our Christmas special as well. Send all of them to DOD@iHeartMedia.com. DOD@iHeartMedia.com. I'm not sure if we've gotten any submissions yet. I'm assuming a lot of people are going to submit. Thanksgiving weekend is going to be the big one. I'm going to take a couple of days off. Producer Dave, I would ask that on Monday and Tuesday after Thanksgiving, when I'm not going to be on the air, you continue to push for submissions. Dave says his price is he doesn't want to play Christmas music on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will talk about that. I say we start Christmas music on Monday. Should we put that to a vote? Do we start Christmas music Monday, as in 3 days, Christmas bumper music, like Get Backs and that sort of stuff on the show? We'll take your votes. 414-799-1130. You can text us on the AdventNows.com talk and text line. Should we start Christmas bumper music Monday before Thanksgiving? My gut says no, even though there aren't a whole lot of Thanksgiving songs. We do have a special Thanksgiving open for the show, but yes, it's the Thanksgiving song by Nicole Westbrook. It's a Dan O'Donnell Show tradition. We'll take your votes. I will let the people speak. Do we want Christmas music on the Dan O'Donnell Show ahead of Thanksgiving starting next week? The weather does have a lot to do. If there was snow on the ground right now, people would say, deck the halls, mofo. Let's start the Christmas music. But because it was until yesterday, like 60 degrees out, no. I think a lot of people are saying they really don't want to. All right. DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Let's get those Christmas submissions from your kids. Just keep in mind, keep an ear out. You know, if you're getting together with the kids, if they play a song on the piano, say, hey, can we record this? We'd really love to feature your kid on the radio. And by the way, don't worry if you don't want your kid's full name said on the air. Just let me know if you don't want the name said at all. We don't need to. We can say, hey, this 4-year-old from Germantown playing Jingle Bells. You know, we can do that. And so only you and your family know who it is. We're incredibly flexible on this stuff. Before we get to Thanksgiving, before we get to Christmas, we celebrate Transgender Awareness Week. And in fact, I want to take part. I want people to be aware of how transsexualism went from a clearly identified mental disorder to gender identity disorder, and now gender dysphoria, which is no longer a mental disorder, and the extreme negative impact that that's had on mental health for transgender people. When trans activists, increasingly militant ones, talk about transgenocide, that you are perpetuating a transgenocide on transgender people if you don't allow 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds to have gender mutilation surgery, then you're committing transgenocide. What they mean is there are staggeringly high rates of suicide amongst transgender people. The reason for this, I have long suspected, and the research backs me up on this, is that the underlying mental health issues are no longer being treated that are associated with gender identity disorder. And instead, doctors are prescribing hormones, they're prescribing surgery, they're prescribing living as a member of the opposite gender as sort of a cure-all for even the underlying depression and self-loathing that often underpins the desire to transition. Transsexualism was first identified in the 3rd edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or DSM-3. As it put it, the essential features of this disorder are a persistent discomfort and sense of inappropriateness about one's assigned sex in a person who has reached puberty. In addition, there is persistent preoccupation for at least 2 years with getting rid of one's primary and secondary sex characteristics and acquiring the sex characteristics of the other sex. What immediately stepped out to you? To me, stood out to you, or stepped out. 2 things. 1, it was only diagnosed in post-adolescence. Someone who was 7, 8 years old saying, "Mommy, I think I'm actually a boy," was not actually considered transsexualism because it was a phase. It was believed to be something that the child would grow out of. Moreover, there would have to be consistent observation of the exact same desire to change one's sex for 2 years. Do we now have the 2-year essentially waiting period for gender reassignment surgery? Of course we don't. Someone comes into a doctor's office and says, "I want it chopped off." "That's right, doc. Get rid of it." "Yeah, the other 2 things too. I want to be a girl now." They'll do it. Under the umbrella of transsexualism, there was also gender identity disorder of adolescence or adulthood, non-transsexual type, which was someone who didn't necessarily want to be, as it was known at the time, transsexual, but believed that they were in the wrong body, essentially. That's gender identity disorder. There was also transvestic fetishism. And that is exactly what it sounds like. Someone is sexually aroused by dressing as a member of the opposite sex. The best example I can come up with right now is the serial killer Buffalo Bill from the movie Silence of the Lambs. I'm not going to get into too much more depth about that, but if you haven't seen the movie, please do see it. Anthony Hopkins is absolutely spectacular. It's just an incredibly well done movie. This was the definition that was commonly understood by psychiatrists until 1994, when the 4th edition of DSM changed transsexualism to gender identity disorder. And at this point, there had been some studies that were done about just what gender identity disorder, transsexualism, what exactly was the mental state of people who had this diagnosis. One study from 1987 found that childhood gender identity disorder may in some cases predict adult gender identity disorder. 55 feminine boys with gender identity disorder were followed into early adulthood. So these are boys that would want to play with Barbies and who just exhibited very feminine traits. They saw themselves more as identifying with the girls than with boys. So there's 55 of them. Guess how many were diagnosed with gender identity disorder out of those 55? Just guess. 5. 21 were homosexual. They were effeminate because they were attracted to boys. Even before maybe they knew what sexual attraction was, they sort of knew they identified more as girls because they, like the girls, had crushes on boys and that sort of thing. 14 were heterosexual, 14 were not rated. What this means was that childhood identity as a transgender oftentimes was simply something that the kid grows out of. They don't grow up to have gender identity disorder in almost all cases. This is actually kind of remarkable because what we're seeing now is the firm belief that someone who says, okay, I'm transgender at age 12 is going to say the same thing at age 25, and therefore we should start transitioning them. We should give them puberty blockers. Well, the research up until this exact moment in time said the exact opposite. No, you shouldn't do that because there's a very good chance that they're going to outgrow this, that once they start to identify and once they start to understand their own sexuality, they say, okay, these feelings I am having are because I'm actually sexually attracted to other boys and not girls. Another study from 1999 found that in cases where gender identity disorder is present, if the individual displays only a mild tendency, displays a serious psychopathology, or is not functioning well socially, psychotherapy rather than sex reassignment surgery may be advised. For those with extreme symptoms of gender identity disorder, who are free from psychopathology and who are functioning well in society, sex reassignment surgery is still not permitted until the person has lived full-time as the preferred gender, often for a period of 2 years. In other words, it's sort of a trial run of living as a member of the other sex before you make and at this time, the surgery, I don't know exactly how reversible the surgery was back in 1999, I will admit, but the idea was we don't want people to make life-altering decisions, permanent decisions based on something that in 2 years they might not be happy with. In other words, we don't want something that will potentially exacerbate the depressive feelings that they're feeling because now they've just made, oh my God, a decision I can't take back and what have I done? This leads to increased feelings of despair. So what changed? In 2012, the American Psychiatric DSM-5, I believe, the American Psychiatric Association's DSM-5 changed gender identity disorder to gender dysphoria and removed it as a psychiatric disorder. Was there any science that essentially backed this change? No. In an interview with The Advocate, APA member Jack Drescher, this is from MSNBC 2012, explained the new revision, saying all psychiatric diagnoses occur within a cultural context. We know there is a whole community of people out there who are not seeking medical attention and live between the two binary categories. We wanted to send the message that the therapist's job isn't to pathologize. In plain English, what that means is, for political correctness' sake, because in the broader context of culture, we want to send the message that it's okay. We don't want there to be a stigma of a mental health disorder. We're going to say, okay, it's all right. It's perfectly acceptable to live between the binary of two genders. That, I believe, has had immense damage, because what it's allowed people to do is say, okay, I don't have something wrong with me. I don't have underlying mental health problems that I need to treat. I'm just born in the wrong body. That may be true, but it's few and far between. And to someone who might be suffering from gender identity disorder or who identifies as transgender, I know there are transgender conservatives out there. If you're being honest with yourself, are you totally free from any and all mental health maladies? I've been very open about mine. I have general anxiety disorder. I treat it with escitalopram. I was at a great event last night with the Wisconsin Forum, gave a speech on election integrity, and was talking to some people at my table at dinner about that. And I'm very open about that, because I'm not saying this, from on high, I am Dan O'Donnell, the perfect male. No. I want to erase the stigma about mental health, because I think we are in a crisis mode here in this country, because things like this are not being treated. And instead, to help liberals make themselves feel better, we're keeping people feeling worse and pretending to make us, oh, yes, we are so enlightened. We're having that transgender 16-year-old permanently change his sex. Well, we haven't actually treated the depression that he's feeling, the feelings of despair and helplessness. This, to me, is the primary reason there is such a massive, and I mean massive, incidence of transgender suicide, because we're not treating the underlying person. We're treating something that's ultimately superfluous, something that's ultimately skin level, and that's their gender. Okay, you feel like a girl. Okay, fine, you're a girl. Do you still hate yourself? Do you still feel like you're less than? Do you still have feelings that you're just alienated from the rest of society? That's not because of your status as transgender. That's something that's inside you that needs to be treated. And I'm telling you, it can be treated. You just need to surround yourself with medical professionals, with people who will treat you as a person, as an individual, not say, oh my goodness, I've got a trans patient. It's my turn to diagnose the politically correct. No. In its current manifestation, gender identity is something of a status. It's independent of sex. It's something you can choose. Sex, biological male, biological female, is immutable. You cannot change that. You cannot change your chromosomal makeup. You cannot change your bone structure. You cannot change whether or not you have ovaries, whether or not you can pretend. You can, I don't know, have a little blood spurting thing like it's Halloween and you're dressed as a vampire to pretend that you menstruate, but you don't really as a male. You can't, and you never will. This is a biological impossibility. But what we've done in the past 11 years is to divorce gender from sex. So anyone who feels like they're a different gender is transgender, and anybody who feels like they're the gender that they were assigned at birth, that's another thing, gender assigned at birth. So, okay, for two of my three children, before they were born, the nurse was able to, on the ultrasound, say, oh, yep, that's a boy. They didn't come out and say, I'm thinking girl. No, they're not assigned at birth. They are assigned by God, if you will. They are assigned by a random composition of cells, but it's biological. There is nothing the doctor does to I hereby proclaim this child to be a boy. It's biological reality. But Because of this, and because of all the attention paid to it, really over the past 5, 6, 7 years, there has been what's known as a social contagion surrounding transgenderism. Transgenderism has achieved a sort of elevated status in media, a sort of elevated status in leftist sociology. That just as we always talk about the pyramid of victimhood, right? Why is it that there are so many white liberals who pretend to be, there's that UW professor who pretended to be Native American. She's not. There's the black NAACP leader out in Washington, Rachel Dolezal. She's not black. Sean White, or Sean King? Sean King. Sean White's the snowboarder. And I'm telling you, he's not pretending to be redhead. Sean King, black activist, not actually black. He's white. He's pretending to be. No longer do you have Native Americans or black people pretending to be white to achieve social status, because clearly there are social rewards for being of a minority race. Same thing with the social rewards that come in liberal circles from being transgender, for being gay, for being somehow a member of an oppressed class, for being a little bit higher up on that pyramid of victimhood, right? Because of this, and because just as that study way back in 1987 found, you have kids who are gay. They don't know what maybe even gay is, or they're just starting to learn, or they just know they're different. They're attracted to boys, they're not attracted to girls, or vice versa. Girls not attracted to boys, but rather other girls. But instead of saying, okay, I am attracted to, I have crushes on before they reach sexual maturity, I'm physically attracted to members of the same sex, they're being told that if you have feelings like that, it's not that you're gay. No. You were actually born in the wrong body and you're really a girl. What this has done is to create a massive social contagion. And it's sort of a perfect storm that has seen a massive explosion in the number of people who are transgender. In fact, the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, in formulating its new standards of care guidelines, has actually acknowledged that, quote, part of the rise in trans identification among teenagers could be a result of what they called social influence absorbed online peer-to-peer. Or peer-to-peer. This is from the New York Times. The draft mentioned the very small group of people who detransition, stop identifying as trans, saying that some of them have described how social influence was relevant in their experience of their gender during adolescence. In adolescence, peers and culture often affect how kids see themselves and who they want to be. Their sense of self can consolidate, or they can try on a way of being that doesn't prove right in the long run as the brain further develops the capacity for thinking long term. In fact, social contagion is now widely accepted among clinicians who cite it as a reason to support a more cautious approach in treating trans youth. In other words, the approach that has always worked, treating it as, sorry for the stigma, a mental disorder, something that is a sign that there is something mentally wrong, rather than, a physical thing that you are completely powerless to stop. All of the studies, all of the science up until this moment have shown that the best possible course of treatment is to take a while, to never, ever, ever transition kids before they are absolutely sure, and before a medical professional, a competent one, is absolutely sure that this is the best course of action, not just to treat their gender, but to actually treat the person. There. Are you feeling more transgender aware now? How bizarre, coming up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
The following takes place in the home of a Capital Heating, Cooling, and Electric customer.
This furnace is in bad shape, Jason. It's okay. That's what a Beyondification is for. Merle, hand me that wrench.
Yep, we're going to recalibrate it back to like-new condition.
I'm working on the deep clean right now.
Okay, Merle, jump on the comprehensive safety check.
How's that beyondification coming, guys?
Going well, Laura. We'll have Miss Taylor's furnace purring away at maximum efficiency in no time.
Saving her money on energy bills every month.
And extending the life of her furnace.
That'll save her even more money.
Way beyond the standard tune-up.
And it's the best thing you can do to prepare your home.
Because winter is coming.
Okay, guys, we have another beyondification right down the street when you're done.
Roger that. Merle, hand me the drill.
Call Capital Heating, Cooling, and Electric today to schedule your furnace beyondification or schedule online at callcapitalcares.com.
One of the best things you can do for your health today is a sauna. Nick the Construction Guru here with you. This week we're going to have Eric Karlovitz from Good Health Saunas on telling about all the benefits of a sauna in your house. How does it relate to remodeling? Well, we're going to talk about that too. Tune in this Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN.
If you or a loved one needs a personal injury attorney, ask around. Lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, insurance adjusters, refer Warshevsky because we achieve maximum judgments and settlements. Their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Grandingo's crews help hundreds of people finally forget that tree every week. Grandingo's state-of-the-art online stump calculator allows you to enter the size of your stumps, where they're located, and instantly receive an estimate. GrandingoStumps.com.
For safe, purified water right from your faucet, the solution is crystal clear.
Any project, big or small, when it comes to water, one call does it all. SNK, Pump and Plumbing.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
It is that time of the week when we ditch the serious, focus on the silly. Before we do, I guess I must say I stand, or more accurately, sit corrected. Do you know why? Loyal listener and dear friend Yvonne texts to tell me that there are some good Thanksgiving songs. Matthew West, Gobble Gobble. I have actually heard that song. It's not as cheesy as you think it is with that title. I know it's titled Gobble Gobble. It's actually a good, fun Thanksgiving song about gobbling. No, I don't. I remember looking for Thanksgiving songs last year and finding that one. Jingle Bells, yes, is traditionally it was written for Thanksgiving by James Piermont, something like that. He wrote it for Thanksgiving. It was about a Thanksgiving date with Miss Fanny Bright, who is seated by my side. The sleigh tips over and, I don't know, they start making out. There's like 10 verses of Jingle Bells. We also have Ben Rector, the Thanksgiving song, and J.J. Heller, Thanksgiving song. Now we need to get going. Producer Dave. Okay. Producer Dave. What? I've taken one break? Oh, crap. We do need to get going. Yeah, I do. All right. Strangest stories of the past 7 days here on the Dan O'Donnell Show in a segment we call...
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
Easily one of my favorite stories of the entire year. It is from right here in Southeast Wisconsin, Glendale to be precise. Of course, this being Southeast Wisconsin, it starts with a police chase. Before that, it started with a stolen SUV. DOT cameras show an SUV slamming into multiple cars on Northport Washington Road. The car careens into the grass, I should say, blows through traffic barrels, hits the I-43 guardrail. The SUV was stolen from Plymouth, Minnesota. What? Glendale police says video shows 4 people come out from inside the car and take off. Witnesses said 2 of them crossed the freeway before running to the Lincoln Park golf course where WISN TV picks up the story.
When the SUV crashed, the suspects scattered, one of them running here to the Lincoln Park golf course and hiding in a porta potty. Exclusive video from News Chopper 12 shows officers driving through the park.
A nice, relaxing, beautiful day on the golf course.
Golfers also capturing that chaotic moment on their cell phones. At some point, a golfer tipped the porta potty over to trap the suspect inside. Police show up, flip the potty over, and make the arrest.
Taking the second overall, or there are 2 of them in there?
Come out! Crawl out, dude! Don't do anything stupid.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Emily Pollard on the story from WISN 12. You see the body camera. Could you hear what the perp says as he's crawling out of the porta potty? Could you hear it? I got bleep on me.
Come out! Crawl out, dude! Don't do anything stupid.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
He says what sounds like, dog, I got bleep on me, bro. Yeah. It's called being trapped in a porta potty. Our heroes of the week, not only those officers, but the quick-thinking golfers who tipped over the porta potty, trapping the guy inside. This is the definition, young car thief, of finding yourself in a bleepy situation.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
I honestly couldn't believe that story was real. Before they had the video, they said, all right, he was trapped in a porta potty. I said, no, they didn't tip over the porta potty. That is too good. That is too good. I want to know who those golfers were, because what do you think? Can we get them around? Do you think the guys at Morningstar would buy them around for their quick thing? You'd buy them around? I would totally. Should we golf with them? I think it was 2 dudes for this. Yeah, yes, exactly. The story alone is worth at least a round of golf. Oh, that is fantastic. American Airlines has sent a reminder to flight attendants not to go above and beyond for passengers in economy class. The airline telling cabin crew they shouldn't give economy passengers blankets, pillows, or treats from business class. American framed this as consistency, which is to say, according to viewfromthewing.com, that there are no occasional surprise and delight moments in the coach cabin. You want that blanket? You're paying for it, son.
How bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
Finally, we stay in the not-so-friendly skies. A 747 cargo plane headed to Belgium from New York forced to turn around to John F. Kennedy International Airport after a horse escaped from its stall, according to air traffic control audio. The horse got loose within 30 minutes of takeoff. The Boeing 747, barely at 31,000 feet, a pilot told air traffic control a horse had escaped from its stall. They needed to return to JFK yesterday. In the audio, the pilot is heard say, "We're a cargo plane with a live animal, a horse on board. The horse managed to escape its stall. There's no issue with flying, but we need to go back to New York as we can't re-secure the horse." I would love to see the co-pilot having to go back downstairs, chasing the horse around the cargo plane before they finally make a landing. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your weekly look back at the strangest stories of the past 7 days here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, in a segment we are proud to call
How Bizarre! How bizarre! How bizarre!
Dan O'Donnell for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. We can't control inflation and skyrocketing prices, but there is something that can be done at home. Dramatically lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors. Pella Windows and Doors can have them installed in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of no interest and no down payments for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget. 0% interest, no down payments for up to 36 months when you order by November 30th. Set your free consultation today at PellaWI.com. That's PellaWI.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Time for This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dan O'Donnell here alongside the president and CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. Stop me if you've heard this one, Dave. The government is going to shut down. We're going to run out of money and everything that we know it will cease to exist if Congress doesn't approve more spending. It seems like every 3 weeks.
Can you hear me yawning? Can you hear me yawning?
I know.
Right now?
At some point, the Chicken Littles will have to produce some evidence that the sky would fall if we don't do exactly what they say, because it's every 3 weeks to a month we're going through this exact same nonsense, Dave.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And really, the markets and the economy really don't care, and they haven't cared for a long time, Dan. You look back at, and this obviously is not the first shutdown, and you look back and we did some work on it, and really they just don't care. It does not affect the GDP of this country. It doesn't affect the earnings of this country. It does affect those people who will temporarily not get a paycheck, even though they'll go back and get paid. But at this point, the economy looks on, and of course, this week, we're recording this on a Monday afternoon. They're certainly talking about a continuing resolution from the House. If they don't pass their own bill, then Big Brother Senate's going to get involved, and then they're not going to like that either. So I expect to see something of a CR this week.
Yeah, of course there will be, because you know why? There always is, and that's why markets shrug it off. But the reality is markets are unpredictable, even if government and the continuing shutdown drama is predictable. And that's why you need to know what you own and why you own it. You need to head to AnnexWealth.com for a free portfolio review, a wealth metric. For Dave Spano, president and CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. This summer, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve at Reset Restore MD. Scientists have linked depression to neurochemical changes in the brain. Studies show ketamine can permanently reset and restore those balances, relieving depression and related issues. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
So I came to Advent because I was experiencing recurrent sinus infections. As a new mom, it was really kind of difficult.
Many of our patients complain of sinus infections. The headaches, fatigue, and nasal stuffiness have a profound effect on their lives.
I just felt like your sickness starts affecting your energy level and, the things that you really enjoy doing. That really was a breaking point for me.
So Molly came to Advent. Abnormally tight sinuses and swollen turbinates led to simple breathing triangle solutions that ended up taking about 20 minutes in office. And very soon thereafter, she was breathing freely.
I'm just in awe at the amount of air that that I'm able to breathe in and out each night, and I haven't had a sinus infection since the procedure.
I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. When you breathe well, you do live better.
Results may vary.
I'm Victor Harding. If you or someone you love is injured, I highly recommend Best Lawyers Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year, Warshevsky's Frank Cravello.
Frank here. If you're injured, the quality of your attorney and law firm will likely have greater impact on the compensation you receive than even the facts of your case. I highly recommend Best Lawyers Product Liability Attorney of the Year, Warshevsky's Victor Harding.
The quality of your attorney and law firm are huge factors in the compensation injured Wisconsinites receive. Injured?
It is about the money.
Warshevsky.com.
BlueMountainExpress.com. We will improve your move.
Statewide. The people have spoken, and never let it be said that Dan O'Donnell is not a man of the people. Overwhelmingly, they say we start Christmas music right now. Don't even wait for Monday. Yes. Yes. Well, you don't believe me? No? Producer Dave is accusing me. He is accusing me of running a Hamas-style election. No, it was close. I hate all of you Grinches. We are going to start Christmas music after Christmas. Dave, I will put it to you whether you want to start Christmas music the Monday after Thanksgiving. I have no real preference whatsoever for you. For me, all Christmas all the time, baby. And I'm not taking a single day off after we're doing Thanksgiving with my family. Taking a couple of extra days. It's not a Dan O'Donnell family holiday party unless it lasts like at least 5 or 6 days. I am still desperate in my attempt to celebrate a full 12 days of Christmas. Can I beg to be invited to other people's family Christmas parties? I think it would be cool. I just want to celebrate Christmas for 7 consecutive days. Yes, I do, Dave. I do want to come to one of your family Christmas parties. I will bring gifts. Nobody has to give me a gift. I'll get a gift for every single kid there. Just give me an idea of what it was. Oh, yeah. Is your sister a big lib? She's not a big fan of the DOD? You disagree on policy? She's a wonderful lady, I'm sure. I'm charming in person, Dave. You know this. Even people who dislike me, well, they meet me and they dislike me slightly less, very slightly. They still dislike me quite a bit. Quite a bit they dislike me, but just slightly less. I can go down in the rankings from Hitler to like Mao Zedong. No, yeah, I'm probably still at Mussolini levels of hate. I'm not like Trump is way up here. Then it's Hitler. I moved down from like Trump past Hitler. I'm like a strong Mussolini in the eyes of liberals who I meet. Speaking of Trump, new Marquette University Law School poll. I don't think we're going to end a little bit early just because the first segment on Transgender Awareness Week took very, very long time. Marquette University Law School poll, nationwide poll, and I will caution this is of registered voters, not of likely voters, shows Joe Biden trailing all 3 of his top Republican rivals. But the big shock here, Nikki Haley leads Biden 55% to 45%. Trump leads Biden 52-48. DeSantis leads Biden 51 to 49. We are seeing an increasing number of polls showing that not only does Trump beat Biden, but pretty much every other Republican beats Biden as well. Joe Biden, because of a wide variety variety of factors. I think not the least of which is that Democrats need to act now or not act at all if they want to get him off the ticket and replace him not with Kamala Harris, but rather with Gavin Newsom, who clearly is the preferred candidate, the president in waiting, if you will. They need to do it now. And I think some of these now, Charles Franklin is about as honest a pollster as it gets. And I think what you're seeing is not push polling, but rather Democrats saying, hey, replace Biden, replace Biden, replace Biden. That said, this is not a poll of likely voters. These are just random jamokes on the street that are called up. There is no screening to determine whether or not they're likely to vote. Registered voters don't vote. Likely voters do. But at this point, doesn't really matter. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Be safe on the deer hunt if you go out there. We'll reconvene Monday morning right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
They used